Hey guys, welcome to IT Contents channel, and in today's video I'll be sharing with you 8 Linux interview questions and answers that you just need to know, and some of them are easy ones. You might know of them already. I'll open up my Linux terminal here, of which I'm using Kali Linux, as you can see, but you can use any other Linux that you are using. Okay, so the first question: how can you see which kernel version a system is currently running? Okay, so to see what kernel version a system is running, you just need to use this simple command, which is uname space, and then if you put -a, that means all. Okay, so if I press enter right now, it will print out all the system information, which is Linux, okay, with my user there. Then I've got my versions there, as you can see. So I'm running Debian 5.10.28, as you can see, and that's a release date. Okay, so now you can use the same command, but if you want to only check what is the version of the kernel itself, you just need to use the same command, which is uname. Now this time is do-v. Press enter and you can see it will only give you the kernel version itself. Okay, so that's how you would check the kernel version for a system. Then moving on to the next question while I clear my screen. Okay, now the next question states, how can you check a system's current IP address? Okay, so usually everyone knows that if you want to check an IP address, you just type in ifconfig like that, press enter. Yeah, it will give you your current IP address like that, and your subnet mask and broadcast. And then you also get this loopback, but on newer versions of Linux, like the new Ubuntu LTS, you'll find that if you run this ifconfig, by default it will give you an error. Okay, so to check the IP address on other newer systems, it's just a matter of typing IP like that, space, and then shorthand for address like that, ADDR, and then if I press enter, it will still give me the exact information. It's just that here it started with the Ethernet, then my loopback here, then here it started with the loopback, then my IP address. But as you can see, everything is exactly the same. Okay, so you can use IP address like that, it will give you the IP address. Okay, so that's how you can check your IP address using the two methods. Okay, I'll clear my screen again. So now the third question states, how can you check for free disk space on a system? How can you check for free disk space on a system? So this you can do it in several ways. Okay, so one of them is using the df. Okay, so if I do df space -a, I'm just telling it all of them. Okay, if I put the h, it will put it in human readable format. So I'll show you the difference. If I just do -a, I press enter, as you can see, it is just showing me, for example, that's my partition, and that's the actual storage, that's what is being used, and this is available. I've only used 20%, but do you want it to be readable? Okay, yes. Then you want to use the same format, but put in a dash. After -a, put h, press enter, and this time around you see now it's showing you out of 1.4 GB, 0 has been used, and as you can see there, same thing here, out of the 86 GB, 16 has been used, this is the remaining, that's what's this, 20% use. Okay, so that's how you check to make it human readable. Instead of this, you will not understand what that is if you are new to Linux. So when you put a -h, that will just make it human readable. Okay, so moving on to the next command, which is similar to this one. Okay, let me clear the screen again. Okay, so now for this one, how would you check the size of a directory or folder? Okay, so for example, if I do an ls, okay, so we're going to do it on all of these. Okay, so how would you check the size of a directory. So when we go to this folder, I can just right click this file and then say properties. So as you can see, it's showing it's 13 kilobytes. As you can see, 13 kilobytes. Okay, so now if we go here on our Linux terminal, we want to check the size of a directory. So the way we can check the size of a directory is du, like more like disk usage, okay, space, okay, then we give it the directory name. Okay, so you give it the directory name, but before that we'll do a dash sh like that, then du space dash sh, again the h is for human readable, okay, space. Now if we run the same command on L script, for example L script, we just write that, press enter. Okay, so the whole folder L script is 1.2 megabytes. Okay, so let's just cd into the same L script. Okay, then if we do ls, okay, so let's see what file is this. This is change log. Okay, copy. Okay, so now if I run the same command against this file here, let's see what it's going to give us. So I'll bring back the same command. I'm just pressing the up arrows and then I just put in the same file name and then press enter. As you can see on this one is showing it's 16 kilobytes, so I don't know how the compression here is for the file, but that's what it's showing there. Okay, that's in bytes and then this is showing in kilobytes. Okay, so I'll close this. So that's how you would check for a file size. Okay, so file usage in terms of what's the size for the file itself. Then as you know, you use this command here or this command there, this part, you use that to check for disk usage for files and directories. Then this command, which is the one we ran earlier, the df, that will give you a report of the disk usage for your file system. Okay, so that's how you can check for storage on Linux, on a Linux terminal. Okay, so let's move on to the next command. So I'll clear my screen again. The question states, how would you manage services on a Linux machine? How would you manage services on a Linux machine? So how can you know what services are running and how can you manage them, meaning stop them, restart? So the way you would do that, you can do it in two ways. So which is on older systems is different, and on the newest Linux systems is also different. So starting with the older systems, you would type in something like this, which is service, for example. Then you want to type in, for example, the way it is here, service, then the service's name after the space. So space, what is the service's name? So if, for example, I'm doing a test on, I want to see if my MySQL server is running, I would type in service space MySQL like that. Then I want to put in, for example, status. So I want to see is it running or is not. So this will return if I press enter. As you can see here, it has discovered I do have a MariaDB 10.5 installed. Okay, and then here it will show me if it's active or not. So right now it's saying inactive, so it will give you a response saying is it active or not active. So to restart the service, it's just a matter of saying service, then the service's name, then you want to say restart, for example, like that. It will prompt you something like this. So you put in your password like that, press enter, and that will restart the service, as you can see. So meaning that is done. On this newer system, you would use system ctl, meaning system control, and then you want to say status and then the service's name. So same thing, it's just that now here is kind of different, where the status comes first before the actual service's name. So the service on newer systems is by the far end, then system control, status, then MariaDB. For example, if I press enter, you will see now I restarted my service on the first command there. Okay, so as you can see, after restarting it now, it's saying it's running. Okay, so as you can see, it will tell me the service, which is MariaDB server 10 point that, then active, it will show me active there, running, it is running, and then to give you some other stuff just there. Okay, Control C to just get out of that. So as you can see, that's the way you can check if a service is running on newer systems. So to restart the service, I can use the same command, but this time you want to put in restart here. So systemctl like that, then you want to put restart like that, then you want to press enter. It will also prompt you for the same thing, which is just put in your password like that to approve that you want to do that, then it will restart the service. So that's how you check for running services. And if you want to queue the service, you just tell it to queue service and then it will queue the service. Okay, so moving on, how would you check for CPU usage on a Linux system or server? Okay, so again, I'll clear my terminal. For the shortcut for clearing is just Control L. That will clear your screen, or you can just type in clear on the terminal and then it will clear. Okay, so how would you check for current CPU usage on a system? So there are several ways you can do it. So some of them are not friendly to beginners. For example, like if I just type in top like that, press enter, as you can see, let me make this big. As you can see, you have the process ID, who's the user running that process. Okay, you get these other information as you can see there. Then you get what is the CPU percentage like usage, and then what's the memory it's using, and then the time it has been running and what's the command. Okay, but as you can see, this is not really very helpful. It is if you understand what you're doing, but if you are just getting to know Linux, this is not a good way to see it. There are other alternatives which I'm going to show you right now, but as you can see, it's showing you free memory, what is your home memory, what is free. Okay, that's your swap memory, swap free, as you can see, to give you all that information. So I'll do Control C to just cancel that, or you can use something like this, which is an alternative, which is htop. For example, if I do htop like that, press enter, as you can see, this is a more managed, proper look. As you can see from my 4 cores there, which ones are running and stuff like that, at what percentage, and also my memory usage. I can see from here, which is showing me out of my 4 gigs of RAM, it is using 579 megabytes. So that's my swap, that's my free, that out of this is what I'm using. I'm not using any. Tasks running, I can see 75 tasks are running. Okay, threads I can see there. As you can see, average, you can see all that, and time that it has been up. So this is more, organized. As you can see, you have your process ID, your user as well here. Then also you've got like your virtual memory, and then you've got your CPU usage there, you've got the memory it's using in percentage, the time it has been up, and what's the command that is running that. And also here you can just click on a service that you want, and you can queue the service by pressing F9 to queue the service. As you can see, it gives you this other information at the bottom here, and I'll also link a video to show you how you can install htop as well. So you can check that in the description once this video is done. Okay, so let's move on to the 7th command. I'll clear my screen again. If you want, as I said, you can just type in clear and press enter. That will clear the screen. How can you check if a host is running? How can you check if a host is up? Or let's say, how can you check from maybe another PC that your server is running? Okay, so one of the common ways of doing that is by using the simple command ping. Okay, ping will just help you to figure out if that host is up and running. Okay, so if I say ping, I ping that IP address. Let's say that my IP address or host is my server. If I press enter, it will start pinging, but as you can see, if it's not bringing anything, as you can see, it's saying the host is unavailable or unreachable. Okay, so if I do Control C, let's say we want to ping Google, for example, want to ping Google, you will just put in google.com like that, press enter, and if you have internet, it will ping Google. As you can see, it will show you the time it has taken to ping Google. And if you're on the same network and you're using a LAN cable, this time should not be more than, I think, 1 millisecond. Okay, depending on the internet connection and whatever the network type is. But that's how you would ping a server to see if it's up and running. You just write in ping and the server, either like your website URL, if you want to see your website is up and running, or the server IP itself, what's the server IP that is running. So as you can see, the moment I pinged Google, it gave me that IP address. So that's Google's IP address. Okay, so do Control C, cancel that. Control L to clear the screen. So on our 8th question, it states, how do you find out information about a command that you don't know about? How can you check from your terminal or your system about a command that you don't know about? So let's say, for example, ls. Someone says you don't know what ls does. How can you check what ls does? Okay, so the best way of doing it is by using this most useful and very important command, which is man. That stands for manual. So this will help you find out more information on the command that you are trying to run. For example, the command we ran earlier, for example, I'll use a disk usage, okay, the DU. If I press enter, as you can see, it will give me everything is saying here, the estimated file size usage, as you can see. So using these now, these are like spices, for example. For example, I can say and this is a H command I was using, which is, as you can see, H means human readable. It prints out in sizes, for example, that you can read, like KBs, MBs, GBs, like that. Okay, so you can find out a lot of information on a particular command itself just by using this method. Then when you're done, you just press Q on your keyboard and you run the command. Same thing if you want to know more about, let's say, cd, and mind you, some of the commands don't have a manual. For example, cd itself, so I did it on purpose so that you see, but cd does not have a manual because it just changed directory. And some of these commands, because they are so old, they've been there for years, don't have manuals. Okay, but for example, if we do ls enter, as you can see, ls list directory content, as you can see. Then these are just, again, some of the spices you can add to that command to bring out the desired results that you need. Okay, as you can see, -h here is different, has a different meaning here. So it doesn't mean every time you use -h to bring in human readable format. Already this is in human readable format. Okay, so that was the 8th question that you can be asked. Okay, and also this is just a bonus, which is a 9th thing, which is if you can't find the answer on your manual here, what do? So this one is also one of the important ones because it's just a matter of opening up Google and search for whatever command you are looking for. So always know that Google is your friend. Just kick up your browser, whatever browser you are using, then Google the question or Google the command. What does cd do? What does that do? So the more you Google, the more you learn. Yeah, so that was just some of the basic ones that I've just brought up. If you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And if you want more of such content, please just leave a like and also drop a comment in the comment section. And you can also ask questions as well. I'll make sure that I answer all of them. If you want me to continue with this series of commands and questions that you can be asked, please let me know as well in the comment section. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.